Hi guys, so I wanted to kind of fill you in a little bit. I know that I've been MIA once again. I just did my free breast pump from my insurance video, and so I thought, well, you know what, I'm kind of already here. Let me just film this preterm labor kind of like scare that I had recently. Um, So today is February 20th. Tomorrow I'm going to be 36 weeks, but I'm not going to do my 36-week update until um, Friday afternoon because it happens to be my last doctor's appointment and my very last ultrasound to kind of see, like growth scan-wise, to kind of see how big he is, even though I'm a planned C-section, so it kind of really doesn't matter, but we kind of really want to know like what the situation is and his position and whatnot. So, with that being said, I'm just looking at my phone here to try to get the facts right. It started out on the, let's see here, on Saturday, February 9th. Actually, you know, it was Friday, February 8th. It kind of was like all day on and off. I was really crampy. It just felt like, I don't know, kind of like medium to mild menstrual cramps. And there was really no specific, um, how do I say it? No specific like routine of them. They were just kind of like on and off whenever they felt like it, more or less. And it wasn't like I was doing anything to bring them about. It was actually a really lazy day. My husband was home. I was kind of, excuse me, hanging out with my son. So no big deal. I've been having kind of like crampy issues um, for the last couple weeks, to be honest. And I figured it was normal. I'm getting close to my due date, so um, it didn't bother me. So I'm sitting in the living room. It's about 9. I think it was like 9 o'clock at night. My husband was on the couch watching TV, and I was sitting next to the coffee table, and I've been working for the last couple days, week, whatever, on this baby mobile that I've been sort of trying to design and make, and really low maintenance, like activity, like really low activity level. I was like hole punching papers basically and putting rings through them. So I literally was almost not even moving, to be honest. And I don't know, it kind of like it just, they started coming a little bit more frequently, and the pain sort of started to get a little bit more intense. And I just remember like kind of holding like my stomach. It's kind of like where my ovaries are, but it would happen on both sides at the same time. And you know, like if something hurts, you like squeeze it to kind of make the pain subside a little bit. I'm sorry, my camera's shaking. Um, Laptop, I mean, but and so I was doing that, and it didn't really seem to be working. And my husband kept saying, you know, take it easy, and I was like, laughing because I was making a baby mobile. I'm like, how much more easier can I take it? I'm literally like not moving. Um, and so by, I want to say like 10:30, it kind of got like, I don't know, like not scary, but a little bit worrisome because I know that I'm a planned C-section, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, why am I feeling like this? They're starting to come more frequently, but at that point I hadn't really been timing them just because I kind of wasn't around the clock and I was busy doing the mobile, and I was just like, whatever, they'll go away like they always do. And they weren't going away, but I know that every time that I would get one, I would kind of like stop and like, oh, you know, like kind of rock a little bit. It's like one of those pains where you have to be moving to make yourself feel comfortable. You can't just sit there or ignore it or whatever. And so by, I think it was 11:30, we decided to go up to bed. And this whole time I'm like I'm having them like over and over, and they're constant. And I know they're every couple minutes. And my husband's getting a little bit freaked out. And like that night and the day before, we kind of had like a little bit of a mini snowstorm. So we had like a foot and a half of snow. And my husband happened to be off that day, so he didn't shovel the driveway or the sidewalk or anything. So we were kind of like plowed in. And when I started having these pains, we went to bed or whatever, and I was telling him, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I can't sleep like this. And it was funny because he kept saying to himself, like, I'm kind of like getting freaked out that we're gonna be snowed in. Maybe I feel like maybe I should go out and shovel the driveway just in case. And I would tell him, no, 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 it's not that serious. I mean, it hurts, but it's not the kind of pain that I feel like I need to go to the hospital, or I feel like I'm gonna have a baby. You know what I mean? But it's really uncomfortable and kind of is strong. And so he ended up falling asleep because he kept saying to me, well, I better get some sleep if this is it. And I'm like, well, it's so, like, considerate of you. Here I am, like, in pain, doubled over next to you, and you need to get some sleep. I'm like, I need to get some sleep. Um, and so that was like 11:30, 12, and I think he fell asleep like around midnight or something. Um, and then I think it was about I want to say it was like 1:45 in the morning of the 9th, and I think that was Saturday. Yeah, Saturday the 9th, like at 1:45 in the morning. I woke him up and I'm like, listen, I'm having some severe pain and I don't know what to do. I don't know if it's as bad that I need to go to the hospital. I'm always so cautious going to the hospital. Not cautious. Cautious is the wrong word, but I feel like I'm more reluctant to go to the hospital because I feel like, oh, it's not going to be as bad as I think it is, or um, you're going to get billed $50 and they're going to send you home an hour later. Do you know what I mean? It's like one of those things. And so I woke him up and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And at that point, I had tried different positions. I had gotten up, I had drank a lot of water, I was walking around. Um, I was in bed, like on my knees and my hands with like my butt up in the air, my head down, and I was kind of like rocking back and forth, thinking some position has to make this feel better, and nothing was working. And that was the part that was kind of scaring me because I know that if it's like Braxton Hicks, usually switching positions or getting up and walking, or they say if you um, drink a lot of water and lay on your left side that they should go away. Kind of sounds like an old wives' tale, but it's funny because when I did go to the hospital, that's what they ended up telling me. Um, and so nothing was working, and I was starting to freak myself out a little bit. And at that point, my son was awake up in his room, and he's only 16 months, so he was kind of like standing up in his crib talking. And I felt bad that he was awake, and I felt bad that I woke my husband up, and it was like 1:45. But I just was in so much pain, I didn't know what to do. I couldn't lay there anymore, and so he says, well, why don't you just call your doctor, or, I'm going to go shovel the driveway, let's just go to the hospital to make sure, because I mean, you definitely don't want to go into labor if you're a planned C-section. I mean, I'm a C-section for a reason. Um, and typically, if you start to go into labor and they can't stop it, then you have your C-section. So I was starting to freak myself out a little bit about the circumstances. So I ended up calling the doctor's office that I go to. They have like a help number or whatever, like after hours number that you can connect and talk to a nurse, and then she'll page your doctor. And so I called and I told her, I'm like, listen, I'm like 34 weeks, 2 days. I'm a scheduled C-section. I'm having contractions. At this point, they were every 1 to 3 minutes from 20 to 35 seconds long. And I'm like, wow, that can't be good because usually when you're in labor for a long amount of time and it's getting close, that's kind of what it turns out to be. I just wouldn't say that the pain was that terrible, but it was really uncomfortable and it kind of worried me a bit. And so she, asked my information, and I told her my doctor, and she said that she would page my doctor. And at this point, it was I want to say it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And within like 30 seconds, my doctor called me, and she asked what was going on, and I told her, and she says, all right, well, it sounds like contractions. Why don't you head to the hospital? I'll page them and let them know that you're coming. And so at that point, I just hung the phone and I started crying because I was freaked out. I'm like, all right, well, if this is bad enough for the doctor to say that I need to go to the hospital, then obviously something's wrong, and I started to get scared because I don't know. I mean, I wasn't ready. I was only 34 weeks and 2 days. I knew that the baby wasn't ready specifically. Still had a lot of cooking to do. So my husband got up, he got dressed, and he's like, I'm gonna go shovel the driveway, and then I'm gonna get Mason ready. And I said, all right, you know what? As much as I hate to go alone, because I didn't want to go alone, I didn't want him to go because I felt guilty waking. Well, at that point he was already awake, but I felt guilty having my son go. He's 16 months old. Honestly, I'm gonna be sitting in a hospital room for hours and hours and hours, um, and hopefully be sent home. But if not, then nobody's had sleep. So we kind of not argued, but kind of like bickered back and forth. He's like, I don't want you going alone, blah blah blah. Long story short, I made him stay so that my son could sleep and that my husband could stay here. And I told him if anything happens, I'll text you right away or call you right away, and then you can come on up and stay with me. But for now, I don't think it was necessary for my little baby son to be sitting in a hospital room at 2 a.m. All night long. So I ended up driving myself to the hospital. And I felt kind of, I don't know, I felt kind of silly because I had to go, the only door that obviously was open was the ER door, that late at night. And so I walk in there and I see the security guard and I'm like, listen, I don't know where to go. I'm having contractions and I need you to show me where labor and delivery is. So he pointed me to one of the triage nurses and she took me upstairs, and I went up to a nurse that was at a desk and told her, I'm having contractions. My doctor was supposed to page you and let you know that I'm on my way. Sorry about my hair. It's crazy. We didn't go anywhere today. We didn't do anything. So, I mean, I did shower, but we don't have any makeup on today. It's just terrible. So, anyway, so I felt kind of like silly because I'm telling her I'm having contractions, and obviously they're bad enough for me to be there, but yet I'm able to talk to her. I'm calm. I'm having contractions, but yet normally when they're bad enough, you can't talk through them. You can't concentrate. You're just like zoned out type thing. And I just felt kind of silly at that moment, like, what am I doing here? Like, this isn't like as bad as I maybe think it is in my head. And so of course they take you into like the tiniest room ever, and I'm so glad my husband and son didn't come because honestly I don't even know if there was room for a stroller in that room. There was literally like a bed for me and the little nurse's desk with like the monitors and whatnot, and I don't even know if I think there was one chair in there for like a spouse or somebody, but he would have been totally cramped. So I'm positive I made the right decision with making them stay home. But so anyways, they got me all hooked up and they made me like the whole give a urine sample thing. They put an IV in me. I think they gave me like 2 bags of saline to hydrate me. They said the baby looked great, but I was having contractions. They were every 2 minutes on their screen. I don't remember specifically what she said, but their monitors that they had in that room couldn't gauge how strong they were, but they were coming like every 2 minutes, and you could tell the bumps and whatnot. Basically, long story short, I was checked. I was completely closed. She said that she would come back in an hour and check me again, which is what she did, and I was still closed. So the good news is I was in preterm, like labor, but they weren't dilating me, my contractions. So basically what happened was I got sent home 5 hours later. So they made me sit there for 5 hours and kind of just monitor me, and they called my doctor and asked what she wanted me to do. They actually did not give me anything for the contractions. They wouldn't stop them, which I thought was really weird. Excuse me, which was really weird because I was only 34 weeks. But the doctor said that normally we don't give anything to stop it past 34 weeks. So if these contractions were dilating you, you would go straight to labor and delivery and to like the OR, and you would have your baby. Like we would do your C-section. And I thought that was so weird because 34 weeks is really early. 37 is full term, but I still felt like I had a lot of time to go. I mean, considering like lung development in a newborn, that's pretty significant time. I mean, even every day is important. But she said that the medication and things that they would give you kind of don't really work past a certain point, and that point happened to be 34 weeks. So although I was 34 weeks in 2 days, um, I guess the same went for me. They wouldn't give me anything to stop it. So I was having pretty bad contractions, but thankfully, like I said, they weren't dilating me. So I sat there for a good 5 hours, and they monitored me, and they eventually decided they weren't going to give me anything, not even like a steroid shot or whatnot, to develop the lungs in case they hadn't been developed. Which I'm glad, because I ended up going home. I felt good knowing that I didn't have like anything in my system. I always feel like more medication in me does the opposite of what it should, and that's just my personal opinion. For my personal body, I've always felt that way. Any medication I take seems to give me more of a negative outcome than a positive outcome. Um, Anyways, so long story short, I ended up going home and I slept for a couple hours, and my contractions would not go away, and it was terrifying because I'm thinking to myself, am I gonna have to go back? How am I supposed to know that they aren't dilating me? You know what I mean? Um, they seemed to have kind of like the same intensity, but they weren't slowing down. And I thought it was so weird they wouldn't give me anything. So they basically didn't stop till 7 o'clock that night, and even after that, they were on and off for the next 2 days. So I had a little bit of a preterm scare. Um, and I was worried because nobody wants to see their baby in the NICU with wires attached to them, kind of like all helpless and whatnot. Um, so that's pretty much it. I've been having cramping on and off since. Like I said, I'm 36 weeks tomorrow, but they haven't been consistent like they had been that night, thankfully. Um, my son was born at 37 weeks, and I was hoping that this pregnancy would at least take me to 39 weeks for my C-section that I have planned. But um, really, now that I'm 36 weeks, basically, he could come anytime, and I think that he would probably be alright. So, anyways, that's my preterm labor scare story. Not that exciting, but then again, thankfully, it wasn't that exciting. I just wanted to kind of document it and, I don't know, just have the details where they were kind of fresh in my mind still, although they were, like 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, I'm glad that was over. And I have to say, having had a C-section my first pregnancy and being a scheduled one this time also, I never really fully had the opportunity to go into labor and to feel like real contractions. I was on Pitocin for 2 days, 2.5 days straight. They had it as high as they could go, or that they could legally give me, I guess. And I had like cramping and contractions, but it was nowhere near like the degree of pain that I hear most women go through. So I don't know, having gone through that little preterm labor and feeling literally like every 1 to 3 minutes that pain, um, I have so much more respect for women who give birth vaginally, and who actually have to go through labor, especially women who do natural labor. I mean, you guys are crazy. All the more power to you. I don't know, maybe you just have like a crazy pain tolerance, like high threshold, but I feel like I'm somewhat in the middle, but maybe in the midst of it I'm a baby. I don't know. It's hard to gauge your threshold when you're in the middle of it, I think. So I don't know. Anyways, long story short, I'm happy nothing happened. Um, I'm definitely ready for him to be here now that I'm practically full term. So we'll see if he decides to play any more games or stay in until my C-section. But like I said, Thursday is tomorrow, and then Friday I have my very last doctor's appointment and my last growth scan. So I'll be excited to update you guys, and I'm really curious to know how much he's going to weigh. So if you've watched What's in My hospital bag for baby, you'll remember that I pack newborns as well as 0 to 3 month clothing. So depending on his weight, I might go back and finagle his sizes, because I feel like I packed way too much, and I know he won't wear any of it, but then again, it's kind of fun and you like to do it. So anyways, that's my story, and I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you in my next vlog, which is 36 weeks. Bye.